Welcome to Comfort Time with Aunty Yunike. It's great to have you with me again. I look forward to our videos. I look forward to interacting with you. The story I want to share today is called Consequences. We all know what that is. Everything that we do has consequences. I think I referred to this even in my other video, Hurt People. But these consequences are for things that we do, thinking I'm enjoying myself, it's my life, so I can do what I want, when in fact not. Like always, I'm encouraging you to subscribe, as that means a lot to me. And it doesn't cost us anything to subscribe. I watch videos all the time and I make sure I subscribe because I appreciate the people who put out the content. I appreciate them for what they do. So I also appreciate to see people subscribing. So the story I'm sharing, what consequences, like most of the stories I share, it's something that happened to me. This happened when I was younger. My father was a policeman, like I've shared before, and he was quite senior. So he used to go out with his teams for different programs in different areas. And on this fateful time, he went to another town with his team. And after they'd finished their work, they decided to go and relax. So his team went to a different place. He went to another different place. And then where his people were, there was a fight. So they started fighting and there was a lot of problems and they couldn't find Dad. They didn't know where he was. So eventually they called the boss at his station. And that boss made sure that Dad was found. So he was immediately told, go and clear all the issues that are there and report back. He went there, he cleared the issues, and the whole team was actually called back. So when Dad was called back, you can imagine what could have happened. Fortunately, he was not fired, but he was demoted. I explained that he was quite senior. Now you're looking at us who were living in a nice house with everybody having their own bedroom, being demoted to a place where now we had a shared bedroom, no power, we had to start using candles, no water, no geyser, stuff like that. So it was very hard for us as children because we didn't even understand what was going on. And Mom and Dad never even took the time to explain why we are moving from this area to a different area. And Mom had her own car, Dad had his own car on top of the official car that he had. So of course the official car was withdrawn, and soon the extra cars had to be sold for us to make up for other things that we needed. And here I'm saying children need to be brought on board just to understand what's going on. Because children have a knack of thinking whatever has gone wrong is their fault. So we didn't know what was going on. We kept on just listening to when Mom is shouting and telling Dad off for the drinking. We kept on thinking, oh, so it's something to do with the drinking. We didn't really know what the problem was, except that our lives had changed. And this change was something that we battled with. We were so sad, we were so miserable, and so was Dad. And you know what happened? Dad used to drink, yes, and everybody says when you drink, for you to stop, you have to have a period of withdrawal or suffer withdrawal. Dad, I think, got such a big shock from what happened to him that he immediately stopped drinking. From then, he never touched beer ever again. So this thing of withdrawal, I think it's when it doesn't hurt. If it hurts enough, you are going to do the right thing. So now as children, we just used to watch a dad moving from one who drinks beer to one who now drinks tea. Dad used to drink tea. You just boil milk and put tea leaves. Nice rich tea is all he drank. And those who know me will say, aha, so that's where this tea business comes from. Because I drink tea no matter how hot it is, and that's what Dad used to do. So this is how now we ended up in a situation where we had to relearn how we're going to live. So here I'm trying to encourage everyone that when whatever you do has consequences, not only for you alone, but for the people who look up to you. Because when Dad lost that position, it was not only us who suffered. Extended family suffered. People who depended on him from the village, from even locally, all had to do without. Because Dad chose to be away from his team, to go and drink in a different place, and therefore all of us suffered. So here I'm trying to encourage all of us to think before we do anything, and also to not think that when you have done something wrong and you are suffering the consequences, that that's the end of the everything for you. No. You can still get up, dust yourself off, and do good. And that's what Dad did. After he saw how his drinking had impacted him, he changed completely and rose to his position through hard work. It was very clear that he has learned his lesson. So learn the lesson, whatever lesson that is, dust yourself off, move forward, and let this be something that other people can also learn from. So all of us make mistakes. But there are situations where you find yourself in a bad space where you didn't make any mistake. You were working, you were showing up every day, but you got fired for no reason. You don't know what happened. Now that is not time for you to drown in your sorrow. Sometimes you are in a business, the business doesn't work, your calculations don't come up the way you calculated. It's not the time to start drowning in your sorrow. So this is the time to lift yourself up. A lot of things that happen to us are lessons. So learn the lesson and move on. Because if you don't learn the lesson, you are bound to repeat it. You're going to end up in a mess over and over until you learn the lesson. What is the lesson in this situation? Is it pride? Is it laziness? Is it whatever it can be? You look at your situation and you will know. Normally we know ourselves what our faults are. So look at that situation, learn the lesson, improve on it. If it means you going back to school, do the work and get back to who you're supposed to be, even a better person than what you were. So we all make mistakes, we are all humans. There's only one person who walked this earth and never made a mistake, and that's our Lord Jesus Christ. All of us will make mistakes, and when we do, we should not get overwhelmed with the wrong that we have done. We should learn to dust ourselves off and move on. And we should also ensure that when there are problems at home, when we've done something and the family is struggling, we need to bring the children in, explain to the children what is going on. Because if you don't explain to the children, they come up with their own reasons why things are the way they are. And in most cases, they are not the right reasons. Children are fond of blaming themselves for things that had nothing to do with them, for things where they're just victims. So it's up to us as parents to ensure that we bring them on board, explain to them and tell them this had nothing to do with you. Sorry you found yourselves in this situation, but you are not to blame. This is something that will help all of us. And when you see that this is what has happened and you are in that bad space, please, if you are not able to pull yourself out of that hole, get help. Get people to help you, to reach out to you and help you to get the help that you need, so that you go back to who you were before. Don't let bad situations hold you. Don't get into depression and upset everybody around you, because when you get upset or when you get into a depression, everyone around you suffers. It's not fair. So people also who are around you should help you to lift you out of that hole. So this is something that I felt I should share. It's something that was painful, but it was a learning curve for not only Dad, even for other people who were around him, for other officers who saw what happened to him. We went from being driven to school to walking to school, and it broke Dad's heart to see all of us walking. When we were used to being proud, we had to bring logs together to warm water if we wanted to bath when it was cold. When before we just switch on the geyser, or want to cook, we just switch on the stove. But we had to relearn, and all that because Dad made a mistake. So this is something that we should all learn from, and this is something that can happen to anybody. We are humans, we all make mistakes, but we should not let the mistakes drown us. Thank you for listening. Please, if you have not yet subscribed, do so. I'm waiting to see you in the next video.